Are you curious about how precision nutrition and artificial intelligence are revolutionizing the animal protein industry?
That was good. We could establish or set up our business there. Now we have a BV company, a Dutch company.
You didn't come to Austria. Such a pity.
Yes.
Join me as I speak with Mauricio Agudelo and Lina Toro, the CEO and CFO of Bialtec, a company at the forefront of this innovation.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, we have some room. We would need you.
Okay.
Yes, even now we are thinking about or starting the possibility to transfer the IP. For sure, we are going to create the IP in Europe because we want to produce there also and develop some technologies and products there for the European market. But further, we are thinking to move IP from Colombia to Europe and become our European company as a mother company or the headquarters. Yeah, and it's something that we are thinking about. We need to sleep on it.
Having the same problems we had this year concerning the raw material costs. Actually, when you were talking about this different protein alternatives earlier with Alina, I think it was this German girl, it's like, we're no matter which kind of protein you're offering to the market, we're all going to face exactly the same problem with the costs and the logistics. And it all began with COVID. And now it's with this Russia-Ukraine situation, even in South America, we're feeling it really strong with the costs of the raw materials.
With a combined 13 years of experience in the biotechnology and financial sectors, they will share insights on the big challenges facing the industry in 2022 and how they are tackling logistics and inflation and what to expect in the animal nutrition industry in 2023. Enjoy the show and promote Lina and Mauricio now to speakers. It's really good to see you. So it's Lina, Mauricio. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Brief introduction. Albert Miesbichler is a business angel from Austria, Vienna. We were just talking about diagnostics, and Lina and Mauricio, maybe you can give an introduction about what you do.
Yeah, we are working to support the production of animal protein in a more sustainable way. Our approach is design and produce the next generation of fidelities, we call microbiomes. So we design a complete microbiome according with a diet and with a breed of the animals. The idea is to improve the absorption of nutrients, replace antibiotics, growth promoters, and even reduce the emission in greenhouse gases. All of these focus on improve the gut and the microbiome in the gut. So we are producing microbiomes in the lab, and we standardize them, we microencapsulate them, and then we transfer to animals.
How do you do that?
Yeah, we have these 4 technological units, this fermentation. So we cultivate microbial communities that are the microbiomes, but also we have the sequencing, genomic part when we standardize the different genes and community involved in this microbiome. Also, we have artificial intelligence when we use to predict different approach in the fermentation process and even how this microbiome can we work in the field according with different variables. And finally, we have the microencapsulation technology, when we can protect active principles such as microbiomes to protect against thermal and digestive processes until they reach the gut and release there in a controlled way. Yeah, basically the short part. But yeah, it's very challenging, this process.
I believe that. Albert, it was a pleasure seeing you today. I wish you Merry Christmas and a good start into the next year, and let's catch up soon.
Also the best from my side. Have nice holidays. Good luck for next year. Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
As far as I understand your technology, you produce the microbiomes in the labs, and how do you get that back in the animal then? Is it via nutrition basically? It's
well, we start with feces, matter. This is the starter of the broth, and from there we start to develop this novel fermentation process and to understand and standardize.
And it's really tailor-made. So it's tailor-made for different animals, different outcomes. How much difference do you see between when you compare traditional nutrition and your nutrition? What are the big differences that you see?
Yeah, and now we are improving the digestibility of the dry matter. Yeah, as you mentioned before, it's very tailor-made product or feed additive, and it depends on the raw material that you are using in the diet. So what we are seeing here with this new technology, we started with the combination of different strains like probiotics, but then we keep moving on and start with the microbiomes with more complex communities and see how the digestibility of the dry matters change time by time in the fermentation process. So what we are doing is adapting this microbiome to this diet in the time, like evolving the microbiome in order to become more efficient with this specific diet. And one of the ways to measure this is through the digestibility of the nutrients, and all other way to measure is through the genomic part to standardize what we are getting in the fermentation process.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the animal, we are improving also the feed conversion ratio is the main goal, in the variable that we measure in field, and also replace antibiotics growth promoters. We are still working on that, improve the cost of the diet and maximizing the diet. What we're expecting with this is by time improve the efficiency or the next generation of microbiomes. So it has a huge potential, we see, because we can change some raw material, for example, increase a little bit more fiber, and in the lab evolve this microbiome to become more efficient or to express the genes involved in this kind of hydrolysis or conversion of these fibers instead of the normal carbohydrates part.
It's a great development. When we think about 2022, what were your big challenges for your companies?
Yeah, we had a really huge challenges from different aspects, from the sales part, also or from the market. We need to connect with the pain of the customers, the animal protein producers, and try to find a good solution, a novel solution that, because now this industry, the feed industry, is really full of different competitors and different companies, huge companies that are offering a lot of different solutions. So it's really important to go deeper with the pain of the client, to see how we can transform the way that they are using the animal nutrition. And that was the biggest challenge that we have in 2020, to keep evolving also as a company, as a startup. And for sure, the technical side is also a huge challenge. We hire people, very high skilled professional in fermentation process and sequencing. And yeah, all of these technical and market challenges is the kind of problem that we want to solve. So,
but I also would add, in a not technical situation, this whole crisis we had all over the world, because it was difficult to determine which was going to be the selling price for our product, because we didn't have like a lot of we weren't really certain about which were the prices of our raw materials, because every month they were changing. So I would say that was, for me, for example, in my role as the CFO, to face for 2022, which was the cost behavior. It was such a pain, I would say.
How did you tackle that problem as a CFO?
Well, what we did, it was like we were considering different suppliers from all over the world, and also we had to consider new logistics for transportation for the raw materials. And well, Colombian government also made a lot of decisions trying to favor all the difficulties that we, our local producers, were facing. So we took advantage of all these national policies and also international trades. So still we had to fix the price, which is not very good in animal industry, because we are all in the same crisis. So if you had to make an adjustment in your final product price, then the market is going to feel it too. And then we were kind of feeling insecure about doing this change in the price of the product. But then the market accepted it, because it's not just a normal feed additive what we're offering right now, but something really tailor-made, which is really offering them the opportunity to, at the same time, share these benefits to their final customers. So it's like, when we understand what's the pain of our client, as Mauricio was telling, and then we give them a solution, a tailor-made solution, then it's kind of difficult for them to switch your value proposition to any other supplier. So yeah, but however, we made our best to not to affect our customers in this subject.
Which inflation rates did you observe in your environment? How high were they?
Well, there were actually some rates that increased in 170%.
170? 170. Wow.
Yeah. So we had to really deal with it, but not all the raw materials or not all the supplies, but then we had to really make a huge turnaround in many of our processes and stuff to being able to face the situation.
I think in Europe, the biggest cost driver was energy prices. I think the average was 400-500% increase. And I think at the peak, it was up to 1,400%, if I remember it right. What about the energy prices in Colombia? How are they? Nothing?
In South America, we didn't feel it that way. Sure. Let's say that the biggest impact was in the material costs and the transportation costs. But energy, well, maybe fuel but electricity, we didn't feel it.
I'm curious to learn more from your perspective. When I think about transportation, I read very often in the news that there is has been almost no capacity in the last 2 years to ship goods around the world. How did you experience the transportation sector in your industry? you said that you purchase globally, basically. So what was your perception of transportation capacity?
Well, huge companies such as FedEx or DHL, they had to change a lot of their policies about which goods they're receiving for transporting. And they're also changing, of course, the prices and all the logistics and everything. But they told us, like, with enough time for us to plan our costs in advance. So it was easy for us to work with it. And with different freight cargoes, they also informed us about the issues they were facing like months before. And then we had to change, because we used to plan our transportation like 2 months, 3 months in advance. Now we had to plan like 9 months in advance.
9 months.
And yeah, because you have to consider, like, not right now, but like at the beginning of 2022, it was like, yeah, and at the end of 2021, we had to make plans for a long-term perspective. Now it's getting like normal again, kind of. And but in logistics, we had to change the term we were making our plans.
What about, I remember our podcast that you also had plans to come to Europe, create a subsidiary. How did that project evolve?
That was good. We could establish or set up our business there. Now we have a BV company, a Dutch company.
Yeah.
You didn't come to Austria. Such a pity. Not yet. Yeah, we have some room. We would need you.
Okay.
Yes, even now we are thinking about or starting the possibility to transfer the IP. For sure, we are going to create the IP in Europe because we want to produce there also and develop some technologies and products there for the European market. But further, we are thinking to move IP from Colombia to Europe and become our European company as a mother company or the headquarters. Yeah, and it's something that we are thinking about. We need to sleep on it.
What were your biggest learnings creating a subsidiary in Europe while having the headquarters in Colombia?
There were plenty of them.
Yeah. I think Lina was more involved in the technical process. Of create this company. So I think you can talk.
Well, the biggest learning is that we have to understand that are very different cultures, South American and European ones. So for us, it was just registering the company. What took like a month and a half.
Yeah, that was fast for Europe.
And then they were asking for a lot of papers and a lot of information, which we're not used to it. But then we faced it the best way we could. We also we did the process by being consulted with a Dutch company, so it made the process easier. And then opening the bank account was even harder. So it was like, wow, if it's just the beginning, what's going to be the rest of the story,
Yeah. But I think the setup, the company was normal, easy and faster, but the bank account, it was really challenging. And one of the things that made that harder was because the owner of the Dutch company is a Colombian company. And the owner of the Colombian company are two entrepreneurs and another
company.
Another company. So it takes
like the
a lot of papers.
Cap table from the whole structure made the banks to really had to analyze a lot. It took months to have this bank account, but finally we did it. So we're now finally starting to move our process and starting to move the office in the Netherlands.
What should, in your opinion, what should be better to make it more easy for entrepreneurs who want to create a subsidiary in Europe? Which 3 improvements would you recommend if you had a chance to talk to a politician and he asks this question?
I think to find a good advisor, people that were in that field, and as it's going to be easier if you are a natural person who is the owner of the company, instead of have
a company.
Yeah, company
owning the business.
Really? Is there such a difference between?
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
It's a huge one.
If it's just a person, then you can have a bank account in 1 week.
Really?
If there's a company involved, then it will take months.
Why? Your opinion, why is that so tricky?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because of the Sorlath policies, because people have to, like the banks and the government, have to take care of themselves about terrorism and money laundering and stuff like that. And by doing this, it's harder to reach the information from companies than from natural peoples, So,
but I always thought it doesn't matter really if it's a person or if it's a limited company that owns it, because the process is pretty much the same, and it goes much faster, much quicker for people than for the entities.
It's because people are findable, they're touchable, and then it's fine. It's easier to have information about normal people, but about companies and abroad, which is our case, it's harder for the local governments and local banks to find some information about our commercial behavior, if we're doing the right businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it depends how big is the owner company. If you are a startup and you are opening a subsidiary or a daughter company, so they need to take a look to the final owners, and maybe it takes more time. But if you are a big company, I think also it's going to be easier. But this is more for the financial part, for the bank account.
Yeah.
Because the Chamber of Commerce, you can just create this agreement and present, and it's not too difficult.
Yeah, but regarding your question about these 3 advices I would give to local governments, we respect local policies, and we understand that European countries have to take care a lot of how is business running in every country. So it's like the only advice I would give the different authorities or these organizations that are all the time promoting foreign companies to open their businesses in European countries, to be more clear about this situation, about these conditions, because when we're discussing about which country are we going to have our subsidiary, if it's going to be Austria or if it's going to be the Netherlands or Germany, France, Spain, none of them said about the conditions if you had this cap table with a company owning your own company. So it's like, I think it's lack of information while taking the decision. But afterwards, if those are the rules, then you just have to follow them.
Yeah, I always thought it's easy when you have set up the company, so when incorporated the legal entity, then going to the bank is just a matter of a few hours. So you get a bank account and can start transferring funds into your legal entity. Because basically in 2022, we have a lot of advancements in fintech. And now I learned with your conversation that there is still two-step process. So you have first to face the hurdle of creating the legal entity. And then there's a second hurdle, which means creating a bank account. Did I get the right understanding? So this is for non-Europeans, a huge challenge.
No, actually, opening the bank account, the issue is for Europeans and non-Europeans. So it's like, the registration of the company, it might be harder if you come from abroad, but the opening of the bank account, it will take a lot of time, no matter where you're from.
I just wondered if
actually we made the process as being Dutch.
Yeah. I just wondered, maybe just set up a PayPal account and use the PayPal account for a company. It's a matter of a few hours. When we think about 2023, where do you see the food industry, your industry, heading towards?
Yeah, I think the industry is growing and it will keep growing. We have big challenges to solve, such as reduce the use of cereals, reduce the emissions, the greenhouse gases, the menu, and also reduce the additives that can have side effects like antibiotics, or just to talk about the animal protein field. That is where we are. But in general terms, I think it's keep growing, but the other people are more conscious about the sustainability and try to how we can produce enough animal protein to nourish this growing population. And how to reduce the cost is very important now. The raw material is high, and I think it's keep high because the world and different things put high prices for important raw materials like corn or other sources of protein. So the challenge is how we can produce more with less natural resources in more sustainable way. I think there are too many startups and companies and huge companies innovating in that field, looking at what they need to do in order to improve that efficiency. And happily, we will find novel solution. So is what I expect for the next year.
What's your expectations, Lina, for the financial part of the business? Where do you see the industry heading to in regards to logistics, price development, inflation?
Well, we are all going to keep having the same problems we had this year concerning the raw material costs. Actually, when you're talking about this different protein alternatives earlier with Alina, I think it was this German girl, it's like, we're no matter which kind of protein you're offering to the market, we're all going to face exactly the same problem with the costs and the logistics. And it all began with COVID. And now it's with this Russia-Ukraine situation. Even in South America, we're feeling it really strong with the costs of the raw materials. And 2023, it's not going to be very different. So we have to be very creative, and we have to be very serious about the possibility to keep offering some solutions to the market that can be actually affordable for everyone. Because it's not only about producing, because the human population is increasing. It's also how their familiar economy is also evolving, and we have to understand that. So all the time we have to be monitoring all the costs all over the world. How can we find some solutions that can reach the different tables everywhere?
That sounds great. Lina and Mauricio, let's pull the next speaker in. It's Kimberly Cornfield from the UCL. So I can make a brief introduction. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would be grateful if you could show your support by liking it, leaving a comment, and sharing it with others. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channels to stay updated on future episodes. Your support helps me reach more people who may benefit from the content. Thank you for being a part of our community. Enjoy your day.